Yeah, so we left off on the car one, and I want to start off today with that. So what was the car payment per month that they found people had an average payment of? How much? 4. I thought I heard somebody say it. How much was the car payment per month?
I said 464.
464. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I just didn't hear you. My hearing's a little fading after these years of rock and roll. Rock and roll. So we're going to use this investing calculator quite a bit throughout the semester. It's always nice early on to just start to get comfortable with it. I sent you guys that other link too, which I might pull up because I like the graph that comes up. But we'll just enter this one in here. So you start with nothing, and you get a 10% rate of return on average. Anywhere from 8 to 12% is kind of the expected average of the things that we're going to show you what to invest in when we get to the investing chapter. So we'll just put 10% for now. I'll talk more about that later. And then $464 per month if you start taking on a car payment. And then we can look at what that is. And you guys are about 20, right? So 20-ish. So let's do 40 years to bring you up to age 60. If you were just to tuck away that car payment and get that, it's almost $3 million. Let that sink in a little bit, right? If you're just doing it, if you're driving your older car a little bit longer, how new is my oldest car? Am I saying that right? What's the newest car I own? 2006. Because of this reason. And I've learned over time, a lot of economists drive older cars because we've done the math, we've looked at it. It's not a good deal. There's a lot of nice cars you can drive that are used cars in the 10,000-ish range that'll suit you really good. Especially when you buy a used car, you can do your research and look at which cars last the longest, which the least amount of maintenance, the least amount of problems. We've had 3 Lexus LS 400s, which are retail around, well, this was 10 plus years ago, around $60,000, $65,000, and they are bomb-proof. My wife drove 2 of them over 300,000 miles, and the last one somebody hit her when it got up to 262,000 miles, and it basically just did oil changes. I mean, the car is just an awesome car. So you can do that kind of research. My point is that you learn which 5 to 10-year-old cars are the ones that are really good cars, right? Because they've been out on the road. Like you actually learn it, not just pie in the sky. Oh, this is our new model of car, brand new, and it's going to be great. But this is pretty impressive. So, and then if you think about you guys being 20 years old, let's just see what it looks like after 20 years ago. 355,000. So by age 40-ish, you've got $355,000. So we'll start to get more and more comfortable kind of looking at that, but that's a big one in this chapter on car loans, because most Americans go out and get car loans when they get cars. And I want you to be weird and not do that, and just kind of pay cash for cars. And you get a better deal on the car too when you negotiate with a pile of $100 bills, as opposed to going to the loan office where they've jacked up the price of the car because there's 0% financing or low interest financing or whatever. So lots of things going on there with the car purchase. Any questions or comments there? All right, let's get into the 4 here. Okay, you guys know somebody that has paid off home? Who has paid off home in your world? It's who?
It's a guy knows a producer.
Oh, okay, just a friend. Okay. And how did he pay it off? Did he come into a bunch of money or? Okay, so he had high income and just chose to not do any house debt. Okay, cool. Did I see another hand up? Grandma, grandpa, yeah, your grandparents got a paid off house. It's pretty unusual, right, to have a paid off house. You think of hopefully people that are retired. I successfully persuaded my parents to pay off their house, and they just did about 2 years ago, and they're about 70. So they're sitting in a paid off house, and it's nice not to have those mortgage payments. So I wanted to show you, we're going to jump into the other video here pretty quickly, but I did want to go to that other site. I really just found this site after the Dave Ramsey site is not quite functioning the way it used to. So this is the Dave Ramsey site that we can still use for the numbers, but it used to always show this graph right here. And then it had some other functionality with the payment schedule. Somehow that got disabled. I've kind of put in a help ticket, but they haven't fixed it yet. And that's why I sent out this one. But the more I look at this one, the more I like it. There's a whole bunch of stuff that are relevant for class. All these little calculator apps, and they're all in one spot. So that's pretty cool. That last one I just did with personal finance calculator, compound interest. So that is just figuring out if you're tucking away money again. So I start with nothing. I do the $464 of that car payment, get 10%, and let that go for the, let's do 30 years. So it instantly gives you the feedback here of it's going to be worth a little over $1 million in 30 years doing that. And then this is the total amount that you've deposited over that 30 years, which is just the 464 times the number of months, and we were doing that monthly. So you contributed $167,000, but the interest, that's the power of the compound interest right here, $890,000 worth of interest. Interest on interest on interest, like we did on that first week. And here's the part that I was kind of missing off the Dave Ramsey thing that I think is helpful too. This part of the picture is depressing. This is when you're getting started. And so when you're getting started, you don't have a lot of that interest on interest thing going, right? And so here it's a little depressing. You're going 10 years and you're not seeing a lot of growth. It's like you put that hard-earned money in there and it's like, oh, I thought McCullough said that this was going to turn into $1 million, right? And it's like, it's a little depressing because it's not growing very much. But then you can see from years 10 to 20, it starts to take off. And then here's the exponential growth in the tail end. Once you get going, once your balance gets going enough and you get enough interest on interest, it really starts zipping up. And that's how you get to $1 million. So really, here you are at $300,000 after 20 years. And then here's where you're really jumping. That last 10 years, you're going up. So just kind of pointing out, again, we're going to kind of nurse ourselves through all of these things as we go through the course, but I'm going to just kind of keep hitting you with some of those details. Any questions or comments there? Let's see. Yeah, the other thing that was cool about this, and this is all in one page, just scrolling down, this shows you the amount of deposits you got, the interest. So again, that first 10 years, you've only got 81,000, and a lot of that you've contributed each time. And then the table shows the rest of the numbers going down. Okay, so then on the mortgage, if we go to the mortgage calculator, since we were talking about the 10-year, let's see, let's do this one here. I think this is right. So mortgage amount, we take out a $100,000 loan, which is legit, by the way, right? On our baby step number 2 is pay off all debt. And then if we fully give the full description, it's pay off all debt, except for the house. I just want to point out that house debt is part of our system as being okay if you choose to do it. You want to be careful as you're getting into it. So let's say you get a house loan for 6%, and you do a 30-year loan like most Americans. I'm just going to put zeros in for that. I don't even think I need to add them maybe. Yeah. So your principal and interest payment is $600. You get a $100,000 loan for 30 years, and it's $600 a month. Pretty reasonable, right? You can get a decent house, by the way, for 100 grand in Otto, Kansas. Not going to get you to first base in San Francisco, but it'll get you a decent house here in Ottawa. So you got $600. We'll talk more about this in the mortgage chapter when we get taxes and insurance, but I just want to show you again the power of compound interest going the other direction. Because when you're paying your mortgage payment, whose investment was it? We did the $464 as being you guys not doing a car payment, builds up to $1 million. But when you got the $100,000 loan, whose investment was that? The banks, right? So now they're using the power of compound interest in the opposite direction, because after 30 years, here's your interest payment. If this isn't a little bit depressing, $100 of your $600 payment is going towards your debt. And $500 is the interest on that. And if we go all the way to the bottom, at the end of the investment, after 30 years, way down here somewhere, there we go, the bank has made $115,000. How much did you borrow? $100,000. Right? So that's the exponential growth for them with a 30-year loan. So now if we go back and change this to a 15-year loan, as Dave Ramsey recommends, there's going to be a couple things that happen. Number one, your payment is going to go up. So our payment went up $243 basically. So you're like, oh crap, my payment went up. But guess whose money that $243 is? Yours. It's all going towards the debt. So now that first payment that you make, notice this jumped up from 100 to 343. All of that additional payment is just you paying off your debt faster. Does that make sense? And the interest is the same. The interest was 500, but you're just paying off the debt faster. And now, bottom line is 15 years later, which isn't a lot of time. It might sound like a lot of time to you guys, but once you get a little older, you learn 15 years kind of can zip by pretty fast. You paid $51,000 in interest compared to the 100 that you got the loan for. All right, so pretty significantly less, and you're killing off the debt faster. All right, any questions or comments there? All right, let's go into the next one here. We turned in. I'm going to tackle the discussion question here. Section 5. All right. So students ages 18 to 25 are the #1 target for credit card companies. Why do credit card companies target you? And what is your reaction to being a target? What is your reaction to being a target? So, about 4 minutes here to write something out on that. I'll give you a wrap up. I want to jump to this one just for open discussion here. Debit card versus credit card. Is it safer to always use a credit card? Have you been told that you should use a credit card because it's safer, it'll be protected, you got the big credit card company, they won't have access to your bank account? So that sometimes gets put forward, and there actually is a little bit of truth to that. So when you use your debit card, you are acting, you're going straight to your bank account, right, for the money, which is what we want to do. With the credit card, you're going through the Visa MasterCard system and out. But have you ever noticed that you can use your debit card as a credit and run it as credit? So when you do that, you're getting all of the protections that people have as a credit. And again, it's like this much more protection. It's not that big a deal. I use my debit card and punch code, but I generally make it a habit of trying to run my debit card as a credit. Now, Walmart and other vendors will try to say, is this a debit card? they make it more, they want you to use it as a debit card. The reason is the transaction fee is cheaper for them. If you run your card as a debit, then it might be, let's just say 1%. If they run it as a credit, it's 1.5%. So from their point of view, they want you to use the debit card because it's less expensive for them. And that's why you kind of get prompted to use the debit all the time. But all you have to say is no, or ask the cashier, how do I make this credit? And they'll tell you press the green button or press the red button. It seems like each one of those is different. But you can just say, I want to run it as a credit if that's a concern for you. And then that way, you do have to sign sometimes, depending on the size of the purchase in your bank. But you won't be entering your PIN number either. So when you enter your PIN, of course, potentially somebody could be eyeballing it, or you guys have seen the scams of card readers that maybe can somehow read your PIN. So anyway, you can always run your debit card as a credit. So any questions or comments there? All right, so reaction to being a target. Sienna, number 24 and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Caleb, what'd you write here?
I said they're the #1 target because that most older adults already have credit cards, so they're not going to need more.
Okay.
A lot of us are broke college students who need money, so they go with credit cards.
Okay, good. What's your reaction to being a target?
I don't really have a reaction. I don't plan on getting a credit card anytime soon.
Okay, so it didn't bother you too much on being a target. What is the benefit of knowing you're a target, as opposed to just kind of maybe some of your friends and other people just kind of wandering through life, not really thinking about this stuff? What's the benefit of knowing you're a target? What's that? You can warn other people, yeah, so you can help your friends out. Do you behave a little differently knowing that you're being targeted? Like, why are you being nice to me, company, Kohl's, with a 10% discount at the register, or Home Depot? Do you like me? Is this because I'm a good student? Is this because, and all of a sudden it's like, no, they're just trying to make some money, right? And so knowing you're a target makes it a little easier to turn down some of those freebies at the cash register. So you might not want to take that 10% discount on the spot on even a $100 purchase. Whoopee, $10. I know $10 is a decent amount, and I'm not going to beat you up too much if you want to. And certainly you could get the register for the credit and then cut it up right away or something. But if things are really tight, maybe you can go for it. But when you start to do that type of stuff, are you setting yourself up for potentially sliding into the credit trap? That's exactly what they do, right? Oh yeah, you'll cut it up this time, cut it up next time, you'll cut it up the third time. And then the fourth time, it's like, this is kind of dumb, cut things up each time. I'll just put it in this drawer, right? And then all of a sudden you got an open line of credit. 3 months later, something happens in your life. You're like, oh, I need this money, I have to do it. And when you have the credit card, it's the easy way to get money, right? All of a sudden, you've got this relief valve that can make the problem go away quicker. If you actually don't have the credit, then you either don't do what you're doing, you make other adjustments. Maybe you have to ask mom or dad for some money. Hey, I'm in a little bit of a jam, $40 or $100 or whatever. You start to seek other sources when you don't have the easy way out with the credit card. Does that make sense? That's how they start to kind of slowly get you in. They have a plan, as we've seen with this stuff. Okay. Anybody else want to comment or question on their target stuff? All right. Let's do the rent to own review here. I think this was Sienna's. Sienna, is this yours? Is something on your DVD? Who had the DVD? Oh, you did. Okay. So you had a $4 per week, huh? Yeah. Cheap. Wow. It's like, oh, $4 a week. That's not too bad. 52 weeks, so the whole year you're cutting a lousy $4 check every 4 weeks. Isn't that crazy? $130. You found, now where did you find the retail price?
It was on a weird website, but it was on
something. Was it off the site? So what I was hoping that you guys would do would go to a different store to try to find. And I know the longer I teach this class, DVD players just become more and more obsolete. That one's getting harder to find stuff on. But it looks like you did it, and $50, right? $50, and the retail price is 77. Right? So even though it's a small amount of money, it's or a small dollar value, relatively speaking. When you look at it compared to the purchase price and the savings on the rent-to-own deal, it's pretty significant. Okay, now this might be you, Sienna. Did I not grab yours? Okay, whose is this? That's yours? Okay.
I'm not sure what, is that totally correct?
What don't you think you did, Greg?
The total cost?
The total cost? Cost per week. And the dollar sign doesn't belong here, but 78 weeks was the deal.
Yeah.
So then did you just do 30 times 78? Yeah. Yeah, well, that'd be right. Yeah. I know it's sometimes shocking with how much money it is, right? Is that why you think you did it wrong? No, you didn't. It's this type of stupidity. That's how big it is. It's that big. So $2,300. I gotta have it for class. I gotta have it for school. Whatever the case is. 78 weeks rent to own. You just almost match the price of the computer. Right? Find some other ways to do it. Save some money. Do something a different way. So pretty big money there. The 15.6-inch Pavilion gaming laptop. Let's see here. Whose is this? I thought I grabbed one of yours, Sienna, but maybe I didn't. I was kind of peeking at different people's just to get a view. Is that yours with the dryer? Okay. So she has the electric dryer, $17 per week, 104 weeks, $1,700, $1,000 you found. You can buy it brand new, $758. So right down the line, there's a bunch of different ones. And then somebody here, does this ring a bell for anybody that's here? I can't remember. Oh wait, this is Kevin's. Okay, Kevin's not here today. So Kevin, I don't think was here the other day, so he did them all. Remember how I told you if you guys come to class, then you don't have to do as much work, kind of thing. So this is an example of that. But it's kind of nice to see them all in one spot. So again, he might have did different rent to owns, but you can see the type of numbers here. There's the retail number, total cost across the board. There's the savings. Big screen TV, $1,250. Grand total of $3,700. So that all adds up. Avoid rent to own places. It's just another gimmick that can get people in trouble with basically credit. But the sad thing is, who goes to the rent to own places? Is it high income people or low income people? It tends to be low income people, right? And that's super sad. So, but you can be a low income person and not have to use the rent to own, right? I mean, you can save up on your own, even if you're on a low income. Again, it's just a service that's provided to you that, hey, if you really want this new TV or this new dining room set or whatever, I have an easy way to get it to you. But otherwise, you can just hold on. Okay, questions or comments there? All right. Let's see. We're going to get into the last section here. That finishes off. This will finish off all of the myths. And then we have that persuasive writing exercise that I was telling you about. So.
But you know why people don't, why they don't get up?
Okay, I'm going to let you guys finish that one. I want to show you what's due tonight. So we went through all those myths. So there's only about 5 minutes or so left. So I put that on your notes just to finish off. That's video number 6. We have one more video tomorrow, and then we have a class exercise we'll do to finish off the whole chapter. But this is the persuasive writing exercise. So you need to type this one up. Pick one of the myths. So we have 15 of them. Write a persuasive essay to someone who believes that things are just true. Remember that persuasive essay attempts to convince someone that the point of view is valid. In your essay, be sure to discuss both sides of the position so you can effectively counter the opposing view. Use one other source of information besides your textbook to support it. You can search information at or anywhere on Google. And so then it gives you kind of the structure. Introductory paragraph, supporting paragraphs, one paragraph. It's not meant to be a huge term paper, just kind of a reflection. That's due tonight. Yes.
Okay, well,
Refresh your screen. I had it tomorrow, but I changed it. I wanted you guys to have this knocked out while the myths refresh. Did it refresh? Otherwise, I will change it. Oh, okay. It's tonight.
But I also because you said tomorrow, yesterday, watching the game, and now I look at it.
No, I didn't change the ringtone date. That was on there, but we got it.
Tomorrow, yes.
And then your computer's acting funny because, and most people got the ringtone in, but that's right. Get it in. And these are just a little bit of points that are gonna not make a difference in your grade. I mean, you know, this is the only thing. You don't make it a habit of being late all the time. So, all right, turn in your papers.